Before we move on to level 4, we're just going to continue or finish filling out the front side here to distinguish between the levels. Yesterday we looked at level 3, which was evaluating. So we talked about evaluating for the first time. Evaluating, you're still going to have only 3 operations, so add, subtract, multiply, divide, etc. And one of them must be grouping symbols. If you look at the difference between level 2 and level 3, you still are going to have an expression with 3 grouping symbols, and one of them is going to be parentheses, but the difference between it is simplifying versus evaluating. So if you can plug in or replace that variable with the number, that's how you're going to get to a level 3. When we do level 4s today, we will have 4 operations, and 2 of them have to be parentheses and or exponents. Okay, so you will see both of those today. So we're going to flip through to page 8. On page 8, you will see our notes problems as well as our classwork problems. Okay, so level 4, I have 4 or more operations, and we have to have grouping symbols and exponents. So here you're going to see exponents, and the parentheses are the grouping symbols. But we're still evaluating, so it's still telling me to replace the letter D with a -2. Okay, this is especially confusing because we are about to take a negative number and we're going to square it. All right, so let's go ahead and just rewrite this out. So 3 parentheses 5 plus, I'm going to put this in parentheses again, -2 squared minus 4. Okay, so you're going to, a couple of times today, actually we did this on purpose, that all of the numbers that we're putting in are negatives, and we're squaring almost every single one of them. So we're going to put this up here. A negative number, so we'll go -5 squared. Okay, if you're putting in a -5 squared, that is going to be a positive number. So when you square a negative, it ends up being a positive. So as we go through today, we want to make sure that that's something that we understand. A negative number squared is going to be a positive. Okay, so we're going to do that square first because we're inside of these parentheses. That's where we have to figure that part out first. So we're going to take -2 and square it. So -2 times -2 is 4. So inside these parentheses now I have 5 plus, and then this is going to become 4. So 3 on the outside, that's a times. 5 plus 4, and then we'll just leave this -4 on the back side. Okay, we're still inside my parentheses, so I'm going to do that addition right there inside the parentheses first. So 5 plus 4 is 9. So this is 3 times, that's 9 inside those parentheses, -4. Okay, so we're going to do this multiplication first, and then we'll subtract. So 3 times 9 is 27. -4 is 23. You can circle it. You can put the 2 lines under it. Here's our final answer. Okay, and do remember that this is level 4, so this is how you get to that A or that A plus level. Okay, but it's also just good practice. There's good information in here for all of us. Okay, let's move to the next one here. We're going to take this -3 and we're going to replace this letter N with it. So 4 plus 6 times -3 squared minus 14. Okay, this is a confusing one. There's a lot going on here. So we're going to take and cover up anything that's not inside my parentheses. Okay, so we'll worry about that 4 plus at the very end. All right, let's just focus on the parentheses. Inside this parentheses, I see 6 times -3, and I see a squared. Which one do you do first? So don't even worry about this right now, this -14. Don't worry about that right now. Just focus right here. Do you multiply 6 times 3 first, or do you do your exponent first? Exponents come before multiplication. I know we don't want to write this out, but I would highly suggest writing it out when you actually go to take your quiz. Okay, so I'm going to do this exponent first before I do any sort of multiplication. So -3 squared. So -3 times -3 is a positive 9 times 6. And now we'll worry about what's underneath here. -14. So do I do my multiplication first, or do I do my subtraction first? We're going to multiply. So 9 times 6, or 6 times 9, is 54. -14. Still inside those parentheses. Subtract. But there's still this number on the outside. So that's been hanging out here this whole time. Okay, and it doesn't matter that the 4 and there's a parenthesis right here. That doesn't matter because there's a plus. So that plus sign is telling us what to do. If the plus sign wasn't there, sure, then I would go ahead and multiply. But it says plus, so I'll do 4 plus 40, which is 44. These do kick it up quite a bit. That's how you get to your level 4. It's a pretty big jump to get there. All right, let's replace C with -6. And this time we're replacing more than one C. So I'll slide this up so you can see it a little bit better. Wrong way. Let's go in. Okay, so let's replace the first C with -6. So 3 parentheses, -6. We're going to square that and then keep going. -2. Plus -6. All right, exponents come first. I know it's super tempting to multiply. 3 times 6, -18. Then we'll square it. Nope. Your exponents have to come first. I know you want to multiply, but exponents first. So -6 times -6 is positive 36. We're going to multiply that by 3. Then it's -2 and a plus -6. Okay, 3 times 36. So again, grab that calculator if you want. 36 times 3 is 108. We're going to -2 from that, and then add -6. Now, adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting 6. If you don't believe me, you can change this to plus a negative. It's the same thing. So adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting, but you can go ahead and use your calculator too. So 108 minus 2 is 106. And then add a -6 to that, which is 100. All right, last one. We're replacing B with a -1. So we're going to go -2 parentheses 8 plus -1 squared and subtract 3. So -2, 8 plus -1 is 7. We do inside the parentheses first. Now we're going to do this exponent like we did over here. Do the exponent before you multiply. 7 times 7 is 49. Minus 3. We'll multiply, which is going to be a negative number. So -2 times 49 is -98. And then we'll subtract 3. -98 minus 3 is -101. There's your level 4.